Time for the other truly negative list of the week. In a sense, a worse negative list because you actually gotta pay for these ones. This is the top 10 worst movies of 2015. The films that made you want to just go back and rob the theater, get your money, beat up the concessionist, and steal some popcorn! Okay, maybe you didn't feel that bad, but these movies were not good. These were the things I saw in 2015 that I did not like. As always, these are just opinions of the movies that I saw this year. I saw a lot of movies, and some of you may like these movies. That's totally fine. I don't know too many people who like these movies, though, but it's all opinion-based. And also, about halfway through this year, I moved, and due to a new living situation and a new job situation, I wasn't able to record a lot of these as consistently and get them out when I had hoped to. So because of this, a lot of these will sort of act as their own mini reviews, but a lot of them do have reviews, and a lot of these, come on, we all know why they're hated. So without further ado, let's get started. You know, it's funny, when I first heard about this movie, I thought it was a really funny idea just based on the title. I thought, get some kids, do like a Goonies type movie where it's kids versus zombies, have all the cute scout stuff. I thought it could have been a real funny kids, like, horror entry type movie, if you get what I'm saying, hopefully. Then I saw the trailer and realized it was about a bunch of teenagers who are scouts. Okay, well, the trailer kind of looked funny. Then I saw the movie Halloween Night. Oh my freaking god. I am just so sick of these movies where it's this childish, sophomoric, well, not even sophomoric, just sort of childish things like Pixels, video games coming to life. That could be a great kids movie about kids trying to save the day. It could be fun for adults. It could be fun for the whole family. But then you just get this childish, dumb, sophomoric humor. The characters aren't likable. The story's uninteresting. You don't care because it just doesn't work. I don't want to watch needy, annoying teenagers who are adults who need to grow up. I just want to watch kids in this type of role because that could be funny. But this is just the same thing we've seen a million times, and if it wasn't for the few funny moments you saw in the trailer, this would be a lot higher on this list.
This is my heartbeat song and I'm gonna play it. Been so long.
From the minute I heard they were making this movie, I knew it was a bad idea. Peter Pan works because he just is. He doesn't need an origin story. It doesn't add to the character. It doesn't add to the mythos. So, honestly, I was kind of prepared for this movie to be awful, so it doesn't hurt me as much as it does a lot of other people, but it's still pretty bad. The kid that got to be Peter Pan's not good. Hugh Jackman, love him. He's not good in this. Just everything about this movie just doesn't work. I actually do like the choice of, like, kids from different eras and their humming Smells Like Teen Spirit. I think there's a good idea in there, and I think for as bad as this movie is, there's a couple neat ideas that would have worked in a better movie, but having some bullshit chosen one story and all that, it just made this movie so bad, so awful. Fortunately, no one saw it, so I think it'll be a while before anyone tries to screw up Peter Pan anymore. That's right, it's not number one. I'm probably the only YouTuber online putting it this high up or low up. I'm actually not sure how negative list works on their lists for the year, and that's because, well, what were you expecting? Like, really, the minute I heard they were redoing Fantastic Four and then heard dark, gritty reboot type phrases associated with it, I knew it wasn't going to work. These characters work when they're fun and enjoyable. So, seeing this movie, I can't say I was shocked at all. To be perfectly honest, it kind of failed in all the areas I was expecting it to. However, the reason it is so low on this list, because Miles Teller, again, I love the guy. He's so great as Reed Richards. He's just so wasted in such a bad movie. Cast alone is enough to keep this film from being number one or number two for me. And again, it's exactly what I was expecting. Before anyone asks, I blame Trank for this train wreck. Yes, Fox interfered. Yes, they caused some problems, but this isn't like Sony where they're just puppeting the director for new movies. This really was a director who was not ready to handle a big studio film. He was not ready to deal with a lot of the issues it brings up or the quagmire that is Fox and the Fantastic Four. He is at fault here, and it shows because this truly is one of the worst superhero movies ever, but not the worst movie this year. Fun fact, I watched one horror movie this year, and it was this one. And it's bad. It's boring. It's dumb. The characters make typical horror movie cliche choices just to get them to where they are for the next scare, which, FYI, because you do the things that are obvious and done in every other horror movie, it's not scary. I've never seen the first Woman in Black because I just don't care about horror movies in general, but this one went out of its way to be bad. It's just so stupid. It's so cliche. It looks neat. A lot of the set design is pretty cool, and to their credit, the actors try what they can when they can, but yeah, no, this is just a stupid, bad January. I think this was the first movie that came out of the year, proving the year has to start with a bad horror movie. I actually didn't want to put this movie on this list for a couple of reasons. One, it is visually a very beautiful movie. Chappie was brought to life amazingly. Two, a lot of the scenes are shot well. And three, and most importantly, this movie proved what I've been saying since 2009. Neil Blomkamp, you suck. I hate District 9. I loved Elysium, but I love it as just a dumb, fun action movie. Nothing else. And this movie cemented that this guy is a one-trick pony who just mostly steals from other ideas. Nothing he has done has been original or interesting. On top of that, he's just a very manipulative, annoying director, and this movie proves it. Bad acting. Once again, Hugh Jackman stuck with a performance he really can't do anything to save. This movie is just awful. I'm so glad everyone knows it. And who knows, maybe Neil Blomkamp will redirect himself, refigure out how to do new ideas, and genuinely direct good movies. I never wish anything bad on someone who's willing to try and make movies, but yeah, now screw this guy and screw this movie. I have never seen a single Transporter movie, and after this, I will never see one ever. Oh my god, this movie was so boring. And it's so weird. There's car chases, there's action scenes. I, for the life of me, can't remember if they're done well or not. All I remember is you have this really annoying, unlikable main character. You have this really dumb cookie-cutter father-son bonding plot. It rips off Last Crusade in the worst ways. The father's a jerk. Every character's a jerk. I really just was annoyed to the point where I don't even really remember that much about this movie. I got dragged to it one afternoon, and that's it. That's all I just remember. It's just boring, and the only thing that leaves an impact is what's bad about it. And the thing is, what's bad about it could have been worked in different ways. I see the idea this movie's going for, but it just chooses to make everything about it so unlikable to the point where I don't care. It just left me with a bad taste in my mouth, and that's all I gotta say about it. Yeah, no, at this point, there's really just nothing else to say. Everyone knows this movie is horrible. It's topping many people's worst of the year list. And the worst part is, there might have been something really good to this. Sofia Vergara can be very funny. I'm not a big Modern Family guy, but I've seen a lot of her comedic timing can be very good. Same with Reese Witherspoon. However, they stuck it in a movie that exists just for fan service. And that's so rare because you see that so little in major wide release movies nowadays. Usually it's just exploitation films like the Piranha movies. But no, they did it, and that's the most perplexing part about it. Who cares anymore? We've got the internet. I know I say this constantly about fan service and anime, but I'm saying it here because it's the reason this movie's awful. There's nothing for these actresses to work with besides their looks, and yeah, they look pretty for most of the movie, but you don't care. They're given nothing to work with, so they have no chemistry, so it just comes across as 2 hours of two idiots just being really annoying and just trying to give me a boner, which they're not going to do, because I'll just go home and get a boner or something else. Joke's on you, studio.
He could be a sinner or a gentleman.
Why was this movie made? It's been, 6 years since the first Paul Blart Mall Cop? A movie I liked, and this film just totally destroys my ability to enjoy that film. Kevin James, such a likable guy, is just the most unlikable, needy, obnoxious jerk you could have made him in this movie. Everyone else is totally uninteresting and unmemorable because it's just, this one went out of its way to be bad. I'm sorry, but you could have just given Kevin James a script and then just have him just do it. And he could have just been as Kevin James is. And there's jokes that go nowhere. There's punchlines that don't make any sense. The setups don't work. The plot doesn't work. I'd actually be fine if they had done a Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 years ago. Maybe do like a James Bond type thing. I know that sounds crazy, but just put this guy in an adventure. But no, they try to make him scorned and emotional. And there's the typical Happy Madison. We're going to try and force some sort of journey in this thing for the main character, and it doesn't work. This film is unbearable and it's insufferable. There's one funny moment where Kevin James gets attacked out of a bird. It's forced and it comes out of nowhere, but it's only fun because it's great to watch this jerk get what he deserves. I'll be straight up honest. Number 2 and number 1 are totally on par with each other. They're interchangeable. I had to put this one at number 2 just because visually it's a pretty movie and there are a couple scenes that keep me interested in that sense of the word. But no, 50 Shades of Grey is, I guess to all extents and purposes, the worst movie of 2015. It only made money because people just sort of went to see it because it existed and it made such a big deal about it. But no, everyone hated it. Like, fans of the book don't even like it, and I like the book. I read it when I go do comedy and stuff. Why? Because it's so batshit crazy. It's hilarious. But the movie captures none of that. No, it's trying to be this serious romance about this dark, taboo subject matter, but it goes about it the totally wrong way by making the worst couple on-screen chemistry I've ever seen in my life. It's worse than Anakin and Padme because it just takes itself so damn seriously, and it doesn't work when you have just the needy, annoying female, the weird, creepy psycho guy, and do I even need another reason for why this is one of the worst movies of the year and one of the worst romantic movies of all time? Oh my god. Spoiler alert, the sequels will probably be on subsequent top 10 lists in the future. How can a movie be worse than 50 Shades of Grey in 2015? I believe a question is, how on earth can this movie even exist? Gem and the Holograms is one of the worst, laziest, poorly put together movies I've ever seen. It's worse than 50 Shades of Grey because it doesn't even look good. This movie has a really Hannah Montana-ish plot. It has none of the excitement of the cartoon, which I've never seen, but I see how a film could work like this. Just be this batshit, fun, crazy 80s movie, but no. Once again, like with 50 Shades of Grey, it tries too hard to be serious and has a message for teens, and just, oh my god, this is beyond horrible. It's shameful. Beyond having a budget too small for a movie like this to work, the cast doesn't work. Nothing works. Literally, there are these scenes where they show, like, time going by like, going to all the places the band goes throughout Earth. They didn't even take out the Google Maps logo. It looks like Google Maps because it is Google Maps. Oh my god. Why? Just why? Like, there are crowds. Like, literally, you just hire 100 extras to stand in a crowd. They couldn't even do that. The crowds look terrible. And while we're on the subject, if you want to modernize, if you want to update it, why are they then in the crazy, weird, rock star 80s clothes? Why not just have them dress normally for those parts of the movie as well? At least then you could go the full mile and try to claim you're being in the normal world. This film is beyond bizarre to me. I think you should see this movie just to believe it exists. I don't see a movie this bad can exist. Fantastic Four had a lot of production problems and it shows on the screen. Nothing shows worse than anything on this screen. Just everything about it is the worst possible. It is shameful how little effort was put into this. And for what? They didn't try to market it. They didn't do anything with it. Why even put it out at this point? Have a little dignity and just bury it. Just get rid of it and be like the first Fantastic Four movie. Just bring it up at cons every now and again. This really was just the most awful, shameful movie. There are so many reviews talking about how awful this movie is. Rebel Taxis, Black Nerd Comedy. I don't need to spend much more time on it, partially because I'm at my limit for what I'm allowed to upload. But it's just It's just the worst. Everything about it is the worst I've ever seen. One of the worst films I've ever watched in my life. Just a pile of garbage. But what did you think was garbage? In the comment section below, give me your thoughts on your worst movies of 2015. And as always, click to like and click to subscribe. And let's just pray to God they don't make a Gem in the Holograms too.